Hey there, this is Explain Since Level 1, and today it's about the most common ways to play Kassadin, the recent buff he got, and later on the question if you could play him on top lane. So let's start with Kassadin as a champion. He deals most of his damage with his spells. He has a silencing point and click ball of void as Q, mana regenerating lightsaber on W, a cell cone of void on E, and a 5-second cooldown flash on his ultimate. Every time you use the ultimate, its mana cost is doubled for 15 seconds, capping at 800 mana per use. His passive also allows him to negate 50% of incoming magic damage and lets him ignore unit collision so that he can walk through minions. So, his kit grants him high mobility and very precise bursts of magic damage. When choosing the rune, you should have 3 options in your mind: Airy, Combat and Fleet Footwork. Airy gives you more poke in the early game, and Combat gives you more overall damage later on in the game. But recently some players started to play Fleet Footwork on Kassadin. And why? Why should you take a rune which gives you some sustain, but which is useless for your late game? The answer is because sometimes Kassadin simply doesn't need that late game scaling. 3, 4 or 5 items sometimes give him enough AP and mana to be useful enough for his team. Comet won't help you out when facing a Talon, and sure, your footwork won't always save you from O2 KDA, but it's more likely to do that than damage runes. And even with O2, your level 6 gives you very more options in the early to mid game. And if we go away from that O2, you'll be very likely to snowball a game, most likely against Militarians with less dashes than you. Sometimes it's about to survive the mid game, and in that case, you should take a look at both team compositions before taking the normal Arcane Combat rune. Now let's talk about the recent buff I mentioned. Riot took away 1/6 of his cooldown, that's 1 second, during the level 6 to 10. I wouldn't say that's overbuff for the early to mid game, because as they wrote down, touching Kassadin's late game is always risky, but he has some room for some more early to mid game strength. I agree with them, and that's the reason why I think taking footwork is that legend right now. It just embraces his strength in early to mid game. And if you now would take a close look into all mid and top lane champions and their different roles, Kassadin is very likely to be played on top lane seriously. He has 1v1 potential, he has high damage and mobility follow-up for gank, brings up split push pressure and teamfight usability. Giving him more sustainable mobility in the beginning of a game is like watering a flower while it's a little bud. Kassadin top isn't too bad. And let's conclude this now. You should test this build out for yourself, and I can tell you if it's fun for everybody, but for example I had a lot of fun playing against the Gangplank. Cause sure, he poked me down the first few levels, but my ultimate completely tilted him out of this game. Actually, melee characters won't have that many chances against Gangplank, but that game was a bit different and I really enjoyed it. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, be sure to share this video with your friends if you have any, and I'll see you next week. Bye.